So, reading from Srimad Gita Upanishad as it is, translation and commentary, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Text number 8, Universal Form, Chapter 11. Please repeat. Na tu mam shakshase drastum anenaiva Swachakshusha Divyam Didami Te Chakshusha Pasya Me Yogam Aishwaram Na Tu Mam Shakshase Drastum Ananaiva Swachakshusha Divyam Dadami Te Chakshu Pasya Me Yogamaishvaram Natu Mam Shakshase Drastum Anenaiva Swachakshusha Divyam Dadami Te Chakshu Pasya Me Yogamaishvaram Natu Mam Shakshase Drastum Anenaiva Swachakshusha Divyam Dadami Te Chakshu Pasya Me Yogamaishvaram. Okay. Natu mam shakshase drastum Shame Yogamaishvaram. So, please repeat. Na, never. Tu, but. Mam, me. Shakshase, are able. Drastum, to see. Anena, with these. Could you close these windows? Thank you. Eva, certainly. Swachakshusha, your own eyes. Divyam, divine. Dadami, I give. Te, to you. Chakshuhu, eyes. Pashya, see. Me, my. Yogamaishvaram, inconceivable mystic power. So, translation, Srila Prabhupada. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Please repeat. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Excuse me. Behold my mystic opulence. Purport Srila Prabhupada. A pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with two hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind, but his vision. The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in subsequent verses. Yet, because Arjuna wanted to see it, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see that universal form. Devotees who are correctly situated in a transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by a godless display of opulences. The playmates of Krishna, the friends of Krishna, and the parents of Krishna never want Krishna to show his opulences. They are so immersed in pure love that they do not even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In their loving exchange, they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the boys who play with Krishna are all highly pious souls, and after many, many births, they are able to play with Krishna. Such boys do not know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. They take him as a personal friend. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami recites this verse, Itam satam brahma sukhannu bhutva dashyam gatanam para devatayana maya shritanam naradara kena sakyam viraru krita punya punyaha. Sorry. Here is the Supreme Person, who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the Supreme Personality by devotees, and a product of the material nature by ordinary men. Now these boys, who have performed many, many pious activities in their past lives, are playing with that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 12, 11. The fact is that the devotee is not concerned with seeing the Vishwarup or universal form, but Arjuna wanted to see it to substantiate Krishna's statements, so that in the future people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. Arjuna must confirm this because Arjuna is the beginning of the parampara system. Those who are actually interested in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who follow in the footsteps of Arjuna, should understand that Krishna not only theoretically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually revealed himself as the Supreme. The Lord gave Arjuna the necessary power to see his universal form because he knew that Arjuna did not particularly want to see it, as we have already explained. Yes. So, Mukam karochi vachalam bhongam laite girim yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru dinatarinam natu mam shakshuse drastum anenaiva sva chakshusha divyam didami te chakshuhu prashya me yogam aishvaram. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. So yes, Krishna, as Prabhupada explains, is displaying his universal form. This is called darshan. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaiva Dharma explains that darshan is of three. types. One is bhava, ecstatic emotion. If a devotee feels great spiritual ecstasy, this is a form of darshan. It is that spiritual ecstasy is transcendental. Then there is vid or vak. Vak means just like in this morning's verse, the Supreme Lord spoke to the devotees, the demigods. They were harassed by Hiranyakashipu, so they wanted some solution. So they prayed to Rishikesh, and then Rishikesh spoke to them. Don't worry, I'm going to polish off Hiranyakashipu. I'm waiting though till he makes the big offense against Prahlad Maharaj. So that's vak, hearing a divine voice. That is factual, it is not an imaginary voice, it is actually Krishna speaking. And then there is darshan. That is in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. You remember the story of Narada Muni? He left home, he practicing meditation on the form of Vishnu as he was taught by the Bhakti-Vedantas. Then one evening, he was traveling northward. One evening, he was doing his meditation with his Manasa Murti, Murti made in the mind. But then the actual Supreme Lord manifested himself in his meditation, and he became very ecstatic, all his senses, everything, because he was immersed in the spiritual energy, seeing Krishna. So those are three levels. They're considered more and more. So here Arjuna is asked, I want to see that form within which you have entered this material manifestation. Right? That is number 3, text number 3. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you've entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. So why does he request that? Because in the previous chapter, the opulences of the Absolute, if you remember, Krishna told Arjuna to see him, Krishna, in the material energy, in the form of his expanded vibhuti, his opulences. So, actually the first of the opulences Krishna mentioned was as Paramatma. But then he said various things, right? I am the gambling of cheats, the splendid of the splendor, I am victory, I am adventure, I am the strength of the strong, I am Vasudeva, of Pandavas I am Arjuna, of sages I am Vyas, and among great thinkers I am Ushana. Of all means of suppressing lawlessness I am punishment, of those who seek victory I am morality. Somebody should have told that to Hiranyakashipu. Of secret things I am silence, and of the wise I am the wisdom. I am the generating seed of all existences. No being moving or non-being can exist without me. There's no end to my divine manifestations. Whatever I have spoken to you is a mere indication of my infinite opulences. So that is a form of yoga, to see Krishna in the material energy, but see particularly the opulences, the wonderful things in the material energy, and see them in relationship to Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything comes from Krishna. So correct understanding of reality is to see it in relationship to the source. Right? The Bhagavatam and the Bhagavatam and the Vedanta Sutra, they start with that point. Right? Janmadi Ashyata. That the absolute truth is that from which everything has emanated. So therefore everything is related to the absolute truth, having emanated thus, So everything can be seen in relationship to the Supreme Lord, but only with the devotional knowledge given in parampara. So that's what Krishna is doing. Krishna is teaching his disciple Arjuna how to see him, Krishna, in the material energy. Because that's what we want. We want to be immersed in Krishna. If we're immersed, seeing everything in relationship to Krishna, then at the time of death or even before, we will attain Krishna. So this very simple form of yoga. We're seeing so many things. But of course in the material world now, particularly, we're educated to see everything in terms of atoms and molecules. Of course there are atoms and molecules, but they have emanated from Krishna. So just to see them in isolation, that is atheism. To see them in relationship to the Supreme Lord as the manifest energy of the Supreme Lord, that is theism. So the devotees, they learn to see Krishna even in the material manifestation. But they see Krishna as the wonderful aspect of material nature. But as we discussed last week, actually everything is related to Krishna. But this is to see Krishna in all the beautiful, wonderful things. So, as Krishna sums up, he says, the end of that 10th chapter, he says, know that, oh yes, yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shri mad urjitam evava tad tad eva gach tatvam ma tejo sva sambhava. Know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from brother spark of my splendor. So you can imagine, this material world, there's so many wonderful, amazing things, but Krishna is saying it's just a spark. And we're not seeing much. What to speak of Swargalok, Gyanalok, Mahalok, Tapalok, all these things, these wonderful creation, the planets, the stars. We hear a thunderclap and we think, oh, it's very powerful. But what is that? There are billions of universes and billions of thunderclaps going on all the time. And it's just a little spark of Krishna. So that is the meaning of unlimited. It is almost beyond mental conception. But by grace of Krishna, when he gives darshan, it can be understood. So then in the next sloka, Krishna explains, Ata va bahunena kim jatena tarvajuna. Right? But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So that's Krishna finishing this discussion about his opulences in this wonderful creation by saying, what need is it? I'm just a little fragment. So Paramatma, that is reference to Paramatma, right? I pervade and support this entire universe. So Krishna is ashraya, shelter. Because sometimes it is in scientific world, they call it entropy. One of the questions is, why do all the atoms and molecules maintain their function? Why don't they just dissipate? Right? Why don't the atoms and molecules just, go into a big amorphous mass so that there's no stars or suns or planets? There's just a big mishmash. Things fall apart. Entropy. So we understand, yes, that this is one of their questions. Of course they speculate, but we understand that is because Krishna as Paramatma is woven within the whole creation and he is maintaining. Just like even material example, of course, just like there are rules of the road. So who's maintaining those rules of the road? The police and the government. They're making sure that people drive on the left-hand side and they stop at red lights and they go at green lights. They are, through their authority, maintaining it. So that's a material example. But actually Krishna is pervading and supporting. That means maintaining the whole creation. And of course there are laws of physics, there are atoms and molecules. They're mentioned in the Bhagavad-Gita, we all know that, right? Everything is there in the Bhagavad-Gita. It was written down 5,000 years ago. Only in the last 100 years are there, atoms and molecules and nuclear power and so on. But it's all mentioned in the Bhagavad-Gita that atoms and molecules are there. Amazing as it is. So, Krishna is maintaining all the principles upon which this universe and the spiritual world exists. He's maintaining all these regularities, gravity, strong and nuclear force. He's maintaining that. He's maintaining not only the material energy, but he's pervading and supporting the individual soul. Krishna pervades everything from his transcendental position, so he's actually pervading the soul. We exist on his grace. Therefore the material, all energy is called Maya. It means mercy also. We exist we rest on the energy of Krishna. Just like that example is given, Sutri Mani Gana Iva. The necklace exists by the grace of the thread. It is maintaining. So Krishna is pervading and supporting. So that is what Krishna has said to Arjuna at the end of that chapter, so that naturally, like I say here, that verse number 3, I wish to see how you've entered, how you are pervading and supporting this divine or cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours, right? Because Krishna is not just talking, he's actually describing his position. He's all pervasive and maintaining spiritual and material creation, which we find from the Bhagavad-Gita, millions and billions of universes, and this is just a fragment of the creation. The spiritual creation is there, and it is all resting upon Krishna. Sutri Mani Gana Iva. All the principles of the creation rest upon the governance of Krishna. That is Paramatma. So, if Krishna is in that form, then how is it? Let me see that form. So of course that is an amazing thing, right? To see how this creation is maintained and how the form of Krishna. So, to see that, of course we can understand, it's not an average idea. So therefore Krishna in this verse is coming to the key point. I give you divya chakshusha. I give you divine eyes. I give you the vision. So this comes to an interesting point. As Prabhupada brings that. What's that in the Bhagavatam? Atakshri Krishna namadi na bhaved grayam indriya. That the Supreme Lord, or is that in the Nectar of Devotion? Anyway, the Supreme Lord is adhokshija. He's beyond the scope of the material senses. Prabhupada expands that point in the purport, if you remember. That means to say, with this material body we can smell things, taste things, see things, feel things, hear things, right? These are the Gyan Indriyas, knowledge acquiring senses. So, but those Gyan Indriyas, they are attached to the sense objects. Sense of smell is attached to the earth element, bhuta. Then the sense of taste is in relationship to the water element. The sense of sight is in relationship to the fire. And the sense of touch is related to the air element, and the hearing is related to sound. So, and then the mind, particularly when it's conditioned by the modes, is only able to see things on the mental platform. It may have some intuitive understanding of transcendence, but it cannot touch the mind, because these things are material, and so they are a different category of energy. So the material things cannot touch transcendence. It's like oil and water, they don't mix. So to see, how are you going to see? You have to see with your consciousness. Therefore, Prabhupada, ISKCON, International Society with Krishna Consciousness. So above the mind, the mental body is like a receptacle of chittam, which is contaminated consciousness, chitta. So that is the emanation of the soul. Just like the soul or the sun emanates sunlight, so Krishna said that earlier, the soul emanates consciousness. The soul is very amazing. Some people hear of him and can't understand, and that's earlier in the Gita. It's an amazing thing. It is like a generating station that is always generating consciousness. Again, by the grace of Krishna. So, we are like batteries that don't need recharging, because we're resting upon the energy of Krishna. And we're generating consciousness. And consciousness is, by its intrinsic quality, it is self-aware. That means we know we're aware. We're conscious of the fact that we are conscious. So that is the nature of consciousness. So, but in the material conditioning, we're experiencing through this material body. So the fish is a spirit soul, just like you and I, but he's experiencing the material state of being a fish. We're experiencing the material state of this material body. Prabhupada explains that, but he explains in reference to the universe. He says that we are attuned to this particular realm. He gives the example, just like a bull is tied by a rope to a post, and he can walk around, just like they use bulls to thresh the wheat. So he can walk within the range of that rope and post, but he cannot go outside it. He's confined. So the material body confines the living entity to a certain sphere of understanding. And of course, through karma, he may change his sphere. He may go from human to deva. He may go to human to animal or fish or bug or whatever. He may get another material body and be conditioned in that way. He may become a man or a woman of this or that, a ghost, a Buddha. As described in the Bhagavad-Gita, 8,400,000 categories of life. 400,000 are humanoid. So he's confined. But Krishna is purely transcendental. Right? He is the source of transcendence. And though that transcendence is woven within the material creation and is maintaining it, just like the thread within the bead, making the necklace functionable, so we are only able, with our material senses, to see the bead and not the thread. You understand the point? Krishna is woven within the material creation. He's just said that, with all the opulences and amazing potency. So we can see the bead. But Arjuna is saying, okay, I can see you through the beads, your wonderful opulences and potency. But now I want to see the thread. Right? So Krishna is explaining here, if you want to see the thread, Arjuna, then that is my transcendental position. I am the Supreme Lord, the Paramatma, upon which everything rests. And you can only see that not through the material senses, but through purified consciousness. And even that, without the grace of the Lord, will not reveal the thread. Because ultimately Krishna is revealed to whom he chooses. Right? And he reveals himself to the devotee. What's that verse? Bhakti-yoga abhijananti nai. What is the rest of it? You know that sloka? Bhakti-yoga abhijananti. Yes. Anyway, through devotion I am known. And this is a very important point. Because that devotion which Arjuna has is attractive to the Lord. And just like if we have a friend, what is a friend? Somebody who is positive towards us. A friend is somebody empathetic, sympathetic, somebody you can trust. So Krishna is a person. He is a divine, ultimate person, but he's also a person. He's not so gigantic and so potent that he's not a person. That's the whole point of Krishna. He wants to be a person that relates to all the spirit souls on an equal level. As Prabhupada says here, the Brijavasis, they don't really think of Krishna as the big Supreme Lord. Sometimes it occurs to them, like after the Govardhan Leela. But then they think, well, and also Mother Yashoda, when she looked in the mouth of Krishna and she saw all the universes. So it's not their concern. To the Brajavasis, Krishna is the local hero. He's just a wonderful, entrancing companion who happens to live in their midst. And the Vatsalya Bhav devotees, they think we have to look after Krishna. The gopis think, oh, he's a local cowherd boy, he's very attractive. The friends will wrestle with him. The servants serve him and make jokes with him. They don't think, oh, this is the unlimited Supreme Lord. Krishna doesn't want that. He wants to relate. He has created all these spirit souls to enjoy Leela, to dance with them. So that is the meaning of the Ras Leela. The Ras Leela, Krishna is there with Radha, Swarup Shakti in the middle, but is expanded to dance with all the other gopis. So Krishna, as Paramatma, is expanded and he's dancing with every spirit soul. But in the material world, he's dancing in the form of the universal form. He's dancing in the form of Paramatma. But in the spiritual world, he's dancing, reacting with everyone in the form of Krishna as the local hero. Of course, in the Haridam, he's people are relating to him in Aishwarya Bhav, opulence, oh, the great, wonderful Narayan. And then even in his expansion, Lord Shiva, he's in Maheshdam, he is relating in that way. But in Durgadam, these are the 4 dams mentioned by Lord Brahma: Durgadam, Maheshdam, Haridam, and Golokdam. So, but in the material world, he's relating in the form of Paramatma, governing the karmic effect. So when Arjuna sees that dance, he finds it very horrific. What does Krishna say when he introduces himself? Arjuna sees the universal form with the divine eyes bestowed upon him by the grace of Krishna, because he is his devotee. Shaka eti. You're my friend, Arjuna. So I'm revealing everything to you. Like I say, Krishna is a person. You have to relate to him as a person. If you want to get to know him personally, just like a government office, it may have so much information about when you were born, what your color of eyes are, your family, your relationships, your qualifications, it may. But that is not personal information. That is just external facts and figures. The government is gathering information, but it's not relating as a person. You relate with your friends. So Krishna reveals himself to those who are devoted, and he is pleased to do that. Just like if you have a friend, a trusted friend, then you enjoy explaining what you think, what your goals in life are, what your previous experience is. You enjoy that, sharing your ideas with a friend. It makes you feel good. I've got a friend. Huh? So Krishna enjoys revealing himself to his devotees. He's the ultimate, he's the Adi Guru ultimately. So he reveals himself by his grace. But he reveals himself on the platform of pure consciousness. Because Krishna at all times is entirely transcendental. So he is now qualifying Arjuna with Divya Chakshusha. Divya means divine or transcendental vision. He's bestowing that qualification because it's the request of his devotee. So like I say, it's the desire of Krishna to reveal himself. Even though he has millions and billions of friends, unlimited friends, his heart is unlimited. So he's always ready to accept devotees. That is his happiness. That is explained in Brihad Bhagavatamrita when Gopakumar meets Krishna. Krishna, this very touching conversation. Krishna, oh, you've come to see me, wonderful. So we don't have to think that Krishna is so great and aloof that it's difficult to get his darshan. In one sense it is, but it's in another sense it's not. Because bhakti, devotion to Krishna, is the natural condition. It is not artificial. It is the swarup of the soul. What's that verse? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadakabanai Shravanadi Sudachitte Karide Uday. The Krishna Prem is eternally established in the soul. Devotion, but Shravanadi, by the 9 processes of bhakti, starting with hearing, Sudachitte, the consciousness becomes purified, and then Karidai. Then devotion wakes up. It is natural. Just like when the conditions are right, then the seed springs to life. So bringing the consciousness to purity, it means that. Shravanadi, hearing and chanting about Krishna, but from the right source. And then we naturally awaken, and we naturally become curious, and then Krishna naturally responds. So he's giving the divine eyes so that Arjuna can see. But we will see later that this is not a rasa lila, dance of ecstatic transcendental emotion. This is, what does Krishna say when he introduces himself? Kalosmi aham, right? Time I am. And then he says, destroyer of all worlds. So that is Krishna within the material world. He is time, he is the Kala Shakti. It is manifesting through Lord Shiva, but the Kala Shakti, that is Krishna, how he governs the whole material world. And of course that's something the materialists have no idea about. What is that time? What is space and time? They have this, oh, there was nothing. That means there was nothing. You can't say there was nothing. There was nothing. And it exploded. They turn nothing into something, which means it's not nothing. Because only something can explode. If you think, oh, nothing was a dark place, or it was a singularity, that's not nothing. That's something. So anyway, nothing exploded. So no, Krishna, we don't believe in the Big Bang, we believe in the big glance. Mahavishnu glances at Durga Devi, the embodiment of the material energy, and he impregnates her, right? The lingam and the yoni that we see in all the Shiva temples. So that lingam is the Kala Shakti. It's one aspect of the glance. And that Kala Shakti breaks the neutrality of the modes within the Pradhan, and then the Mahatattva and all the energy comes out. So this energy, this material energy, it is very wondrous, but it is nothing to the Kala Shakti. So the materialists say everything exploded and all the atoms and molecules, they came out. But what about time? Where did time come from? Did it come from the big nothing explosion? What is the chemical formula to describe time? Right? What is the chemical formula to describe space? Where did space come from? All the atoms and molecules are in space. Where did space come from? We know it's the Akash. The Akash is material space. I was just listening to an interview about one of the CERN. Have you heard about the big collider in Switzerland? It's 16 miles and they clash different subatomic particles together. So one of the interviewer asked this scientist, and he said, are we getting our money's worth? Because it cost $20 million and counting, what to speak of the salaries. So it cost $20 million. So this scientist said, yes, we are. Because we have discovered that space is not empty. That cost $20 billion. Well, you could have read the Bhagavad-Gita free. They call it the Higgs field. You know, have you heard about they want to find the Higgs boson particle or something like that? It was named after some scientist that theoretically conceived. What is space? Oh, it's a Higgs field. And they talk about dark matter and all that kind of stuff. Because of course space is not empty. Remember at school they told you the vacuum of space. There's nothing between Earth and the moon. There's just a vacuum. Well, a vacuum is something. But there's no matter there. Well, if there's no matter there, how are you sending signals? There must be some, just like you have to have an electric wire to send electricity. You must have, if the light is coming from the sun, it must be coming through some medium, some transport. Oh no, it's empty. So that idea is only like 100 years old. Previous to that, all the scientists agreed that there was Akash. So Akash is the space. It is actually space. Just like you say you've got a needle, a syringe. You could make a bubble within water, right? You could create a bubble by pumping air. So think of that air as Akash. Akash creates the bubble of space, material space, within which it is like if you want to paint a painting, you need a canvas. So the basic substrata of all the gross elements is the Akash. On the canvas you can make your painting and produce so much variety. So the Akash is the basic canvas, and that is actually space. It is not in space, it is space. Do you understand? So that is in the Bhagavad-Gita, and I'll tell the material scientists that for less than $20 billion, 20 rupees would do. They can buy me a lemon juice. So anyway, they call it a Higgs field, but they want to reduce everything down to a mathematical formula. That's their foolishness. You can just go to a scientist and say, you love your wife? Yeah. Okay, give me a chemical formula for your love. That is their foolishness. They have the faith that everything can be reduced to a mathematical formula. Yes, there are regularities and they can be calculated, but no, that is a subset of reality. Do you understand? subset? You're a scientist, right? Something like that. So there are aspects beyond mathematics. If mathematics could reveal the Supreme Lord, then mathematics would be more potent than the Supreme Lord. It would be subordinating the Supreme Lord to revelation. But this point is here. Divya Chakshus, I'll give you. Krishna is subordinate not to mathematics, he's not subordinate to anything. But he's subordinate to what? Huh? Who keeps Krishna under control? 25 qualities of Radharani? Yes. So we're the ultimate feminists. Because we put more importance to Radharani. Yes, Krishna is God, but Radharani is the boss. So, why? Why is he subordinate to Radharani? Because she is devoted to him. Why is Krishna subordinate to the devotees? Because they're naturally devoted. And Krishna enjoys satisfying his devotees, making them happy, making them fulfilled. That's his joy. So this is some points on this, but it's very interesting. We should, and this is the key point, Divya Chakshusha. Everything is revealed by the grace of Krishna, because ultimately that is the final understanding of reality, spiritual and material. Everything is the grace of Krishna. Our existence, just like we say, the atoms and molecules, they're maintained by Krishna. Right? Their particular functions. This one's a carbon molecule, this is a helium. There's all those things, all those regularities, if you like, are maintained by Krishna. Well, we should understand that we ourselves, we're an atomic spirit soul, we are maintained by Krishna. And not only that, we are actually existing because Krishna brought us into existence. Our whole existence is his grace. We should think like that. Krishna is, just like we have some allegiance to our material mother and father. So what allegiance should we have to the ultimate creator? We are existing by the grace of Krishna. So that means we should have sense of gratitude. That can be the beginning point of devotion. Krishna, you are Prabhu. What is it? What is that? Lord Chaitanya says, Ayananda Kinkaram. O son of Nanda Maharaj, I'm your Kinkara, but I'm fallen down in this world. Now you please pick me up. Right? So everything ultimately is the grace of Krishna. And if we understand that, then devotion can flourish. If we think we're some independent article combined by chemicals or some other foolish idea, but if we have this idea that we're all maintained and created by the grace of Krishna, if we contemplate that point, and if we become devoted, then Krishna, this is not just for Arjuna. Arjuna is the example, but Krishna, just like Narada Muni, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, all the great devotees in the Bhagavatam, we should think, Krishna is revealing himself to them by grace of Guru, by grace, Guru Krishna Prasadi by grace of following Guru, by the grace of Krishna. One day I will realize Krishna. We should have that faith, right? 6 things Rupa Goswami says. What's that? Utsahan? Any pandits here? Sadbir Bhakti Prasidati. Yeah. So Bhakti proceeds nicely on 6 things. Utsahan, enthusiasm. See all the ladies, the pandits around here. Huh?
Determination and patience.
Patience, but confidence, acting according to regulative principle. But what the point I was trying to make, confidence, says we can be patient if we're confident, right? So confidence means that yes, I can attain the mercy of Krishna. I can realize Krishna. We shouldn't think that that is just for the people in the Bhagavad-Gita or the Gita. We should, yes, and then we can be enthusiastic and patient. We should have that feeling, yes, why not? We're made for that. All we have to do is follow directions of Guru, study Shastra, become absorbed, and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then Krishna will give us divya chakshus. Right? Any question? Yeah, of course. Is it one of those you said questions?
Lord Singh is giving divine divya chakshu.
Yes.
Arjuna is saying that he can see Krishna. So when he is showing his universal form, Krishna, so he is saying the material world and spiritual world, everything he is managing. So
Sorry?
He is managing both the material and the spiritual.
Yes, that's right. Managing is a good
but
word.
We are speaking of the spiritual things. But the material things,
Who's always speaking?
we.
I'm completely in Maya. I'm always talking about material things.
Yeah, but now you are speaking about Bhagavad-Gita.
That's your Sangha.
Yeah. So, just like material things, sometimes we see so many things.
Yes.
We are astrologing. Now this, if you see the mobile, and you see the mobile, there are so millions of mobile and millions of different numbers. And how they are connected?
In the mobile phone.
Yeah, mobile. How it's connected? Suppose I want to call my son in America. So how it is connected and how the rays are going and we can see each other and so on. This is all scientists have developed, and this is developed through because Krishna has given them energy to do all these things. So we can take the advantage of all these things. Prabhupada said, just like the microphone, we are using this one. This is material, but you are using it in Krishna service. So similarly, when we speak to the devotees with the phone or something, so these all material energies we are using in Krishna's service. So this is the thing that we should understand, that everything is connected with Krishna, whether material or spiritual. But when we see that Krishna is the one who is the source of all the things. So this is the source of things, the millions of number, how that particular number is connected to particular number. You cannot divide one number from other number. Suppose I want to call you, I cannot call on your number to him. It will connect to you. So this is the qualities what the scientists they have developed. The intelligence is given by Lord, is saying. So this is the point I want to make.
Yeah. Oh, you're making a point, not a question.
No question.
Yes, that's very valid. Yes, everything, even the intelligence of the scientists making the mobile phones. Actually, we've already said it before, phones are not mobile. It's the person who owns the phone that is mobile. If you put your telephone here, it'll never move for 1,000,000 years. Nor is it smart. I was saying that it's only as smart as the operator. The telephone doesn't even know how to turn itself on. It's pretty dumb. Confirmed. So, yes, Krishna is giving intelligence according to people's desires, their karma fal, these things. Yes, so that's it. That's the way of seeing Krishna. That's the whole point of the 10th chapter. We see, the scientist is making this big collider 60 underneath the ground in Switzerland and France. So he's giving great intelligence to construct all these things. But because they're not seeing in relationship to Krishna, and they're not reading the Bhagavatam, they're just looking for a Higgs boson particle and it's charging $20 billion and counting to the world thing. Huh? Huh? Yeah, you can get a Bhagavatam set for a few hundred rupees, right? So their intelligence is defective because they're not seeing in relation to Krishna. But a devotee, so yes, we use a mobile phone to spread Krishna consciousness. What's that verse? Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairag Sayuchate. Yes?
How we can cultivate the enthusiasm and patience in spiritual life.
Sadhu Sangha, Sava Shastra Hoy, Lavamata Sadhu Sangha, Sava Siddhi Hoy. If you stay with devotees, good devotees, and then you will become encouraged, right? Sangha defines your destination. If you mix with bad people, you'll become contaminated. We're Tatastha Shakti. We're subject to influence. Krishna is above all that. But so Sadhu Sangha. So ISKCON is a place to associate with like-minded people who are trying to realize Krishna. So Sadhu Sangha is the most important thing. Sava Siddhi Hoy. Lavamata. Lavamata is like 1/11th of a second. If you get Sadhu Sangha, then you become inspired. I told a story last year about one person. It was in Australia. They were having Prabhupada's Vyas Puja many years after Prabhupada disappeared, and he was in the crowd, and the devotees were praising Prabhupada and said, I want to speak. Said, okay. So he spoke, and he said, well, I met your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, many years ago. I was on an aeroplane flying from somewhere to Australia, and by chance I was in the next seat to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was in the window seat and I was there. And we didn't speak on the aeroplane flight, but somehow or other I was very impressed with this sannyasi. I didn't know what a sannyasi was, but somehow or other his atmosphere, his presence, so impressed me. So then I never forgot that wonderful person. And so he was a working man, had a job outside the movement, but I've always followed the Hare Krishnas since that moment, you see. So there you have it. The sadhu, they are the transcendental manifestations. So if you realize spirituality through the sadhu, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Aho Vimuktes, in the Bhagavatam, that service to the Mahatma opens the door, the dwaram to liberation. They're like a doorway to the spiritual world. So if you have association with such a sadhu, and it doesn't mean to say just the Uttamadhikari, also sadhakas, they carry a certain potency. Of course not as much as the Mahabhagavat, but if you associate with devotees, then you become encouraged. You mix with musicians, then you want to learn to play. They're all playing music, so you want to join in, right? And by their association you get good ideas and you become inspired. So Sangha, very important. But then at the same time, from the Sangha, you see at the beginning, what is Ato Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya. So good Sangha means that you will get good instruction how to pursue devotion. And then you'll get anartha nivritti, the unwanted things. In the company of the sadhu, you don't want to misbehave because of the sadhu, the good association of numerous people. Then you become nishtha, you become steady. when all the material conditioning is placated. But that's also in the Bhagavatam. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Right? By hearing Bhagavatam, passion and ignorance becomes suppressed almost to nil. And then you'll get ruchi, you'll get nam ruchi. And then you'll get bhava. Ruchi will turn to some feeling of ecstasy in Krishna. Then you'll realize Krishna personally and directly. Bhava means spiritual emotion. So Krishna is spiritually ecstatic. So when you associate with Krishna through Bhagavatam, through the name, through sadhu sangha, through kirtan, smaranam, padasevanam, archanam, all these, then you will realize Krishna. And then you'll get prem. Prem will condense. Like you boil sugarcane juice is the example. It becomes rock candy. So at the beginning, ato shraddha. But you get shraddha from sadhu sangha, or from sangha with sadhu in the form of shastra and guidance. So the process is there. We just have to understand it properly. What are we doing when we read Prabhupada's purport? We're associating with Prabhupada, right? When we read Bhakti Vinod's wonderful books, sing his bhajans, then we're associating with Krishna through Bhakti Vinod Thakur. We're also feeling Bhakti Vinod. So Sangha doesn't mean just physical, but it means to apply the consciousness to the instructions of the sadhu. That's the perfection. Sangha and then bhajana kriya. And then we think, oh, I want to try this. We have faith. We think, oh, this looks good. I'm fed up of the material world. I'm interested in these sadhus, what they've got to say.
How to cultivate patience?
Huh?
Patience.
Sorry?
The patience.
Patience. Patience. Well, like I say, if you want something really, then you're very patient, are you not? You have to have a vision of the perfection. Just like you're playing guitar or the piano. So you have a vision of being a good musician. You're inspired by that idea. So you're patient. So you practice every day. Right? That's why I say we have to be confident. We have to have the vision of perfection. We have to think, I will attain Krishna. Many, many people, billions in the past, have attained Krishna, and I will also. And that is not false. It's false humility to always, oh, I'll never be a devotee. Why won't you be a devotee? You have everything. You're a spirit soul. You have Krishna Prem in the heart. You have the blessings of the acharyas. You have the Maha Mantra. You have Sangha. Why you can't attain Krishna? So then you can be patient. Right? Because Krishna is not cheap. Krishna will give you material opulence, he'll give you this, he'll give you that. But reveal himself, he'll takes those things that are attained cheaply are taken cheaply. Are they not? I remember, anyway, when you're trying to learn guitar, you think, oh, I wish I could just play now. Right? But say you just picked up a guitar and you could play it. Then you'd think, what's the use of it? It's too easy. A challenge is good. Right? Just like if you want to climb Mount Fuji, you should think it's possible. If you think I won't be able to climb Mount Fuji, then you won't climb Mount Fuji. But if you think I can climb Mount Fuji, you'll be very patient because you'll know every step. What's that Chinese saying? the journey of 1,000,000 miles starts with the first step. So once you've had one step, you're already there. You're on the path. There's no loss or diminution, right? So you should think like that. Shouldn't think I can never do it. No. That's kind of finding excuses not to be a devotee. You understand? Just like if you pick up a guitar, I'll never be able to learn, then no, you should be patient and you should practice every day. That's Vaidhi Bhakti. And then surely you'll get better, right? Rambo wasn't built in a day. He had to work on the weights, right? Tapasya, right? That means voluntary control of your senses for a higher goal. So you should, the goal is there, and it means eternal life of bliss and knowledge with Krishna and all these wonderful devotees. So we should have that vision, and we should be patient. What's that story, Govinda? He went to see some Mayavadis, the servant of Lord Chaitanya. Right? You know the story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? Lord Chaitanya's personal servant. He associated with some Mayavadis. Lord Chaitanya heard about this. He said, I don't want to see Govinda again. Send him away. I'd never want to see him again. Associating with Mayavadis. And then the devotees, Damodar Pandit and all the devotees, but he's very sad. And he says he can't live without your service. And he begs your forgiveness. Well, then tell him I won't see him for 6,000 births. So they told Govinda, Lord Chaitanya says he won't see you for 6,000 births. Govinda was ecstatic. He thought, only 6,000 births? That's wonderful. I'll attain Lord Chaitanya. Right? So you should think on that point. We can attain Krishna very quickly if we follow nicely, if we perform a little tapasya according to our nature. But Govinda is thinking, 6,000 births, that's nothing. I will get Lord Chaitanya. So, everybody is confident you can attain Lord Chaitanya. Anyone say no? You are all confident. You will attain Lord Chaitanya. Yes. Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai. Ma mantra ki jai. Hare Krishna Ma mantra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada. Srila Bhagavad-Gita Sadhu Sangha ki jai.